Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent for another pick a card reading. So today's pick a card reading is kind of maybe a little bit dark, a little bit mysterious, kind of Halloween outside of Halloween's time period. Just as an aside, when you live in Australia, I mean, we do celebrate Halloween now. We've kind of taken on what America and so forth do, but it's a completely different season that we're in. So it never quite gels to me that's the sort of time of the darker, thinning of the veil and so forth. But what do I know? It's Halloween for a reason. But nevertheless, doesn't mean that we can't look at those sort of energies at another period in time. So I wanted to look at that kind of thing, your inner magic, your inner witchy power, whatever you want to call it. I don't particularly align to witchiness, but I know many people do, so I have no problem with that. But why I wanted to look at that, your inner witchiness, your inner magic, whatever form your magic takes, but looking at it from that kind of spooky sort of level, is because of this beautiful new deck, which is Revisa, The Way of the Witches, which is a deck done by Susan Wiggum, who I have interviewed a couple of times on my channel about some of her gorgeous decks, the Sahara Tarot, the Lucid Dreams decks, and so forth. This is another of her decks. And I really love to use them, and I really love to showcase them when I get them. So if you want to learn about her and her decks and you haven't already seen those interviews, there's a couple of them in my Deck Creator interview playlist if you want to check out more of her work. But this is the deck of hers. We'll also use, in fact, one of her Lucid Dreams decks a little bit later as well, but this is the main deck of hers that you'll see in this particular reading. I'm going to actually use a different tarot because I'm going to use the tarot that I think is the most quote-unquote witchy sort of tarot I have, which is the Lilith and Machine tarot. So everything's very witch-oriented, very witch-themed for this. So hopefully you'll enjoy that and find that a bit of fun and possibly deep and bring you some really important messages about your inner power, which is what we're really exploring. So to start the reading, to help you find the pile, or piles if you want to go to more than one, of course do that if you feel that. I shuffled the Revisa Way of the Witches deck and I asked Spirit for an entrance point in from that deck. There's a couple of other cards, I don't know what they are, from the deck, plus some astrology cards to give us some context underneath these, which will set the theme, and then we'll go from there. So for pile number 1, we have the Forest with number 4, so I'll say that in case numbers are important to you. For pile number 2, we have number 22 with the Astral Realm. And for pile number 3, we have number 58 with Transmute. So if the imagery, the ideas, the concepts draw to you, whatever works for you, when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you come to the reading with Forest. And the first thing I would say about Forest, there's a few things that immediately evokes in me. One is mystery. Mysteries to be solved, the deep forest, getting lost in the forest. I get almost Twin Peaks sort of feeling when I saw the Forest card, and that kind of energy of being lost in the forest or lost in the woods. So there's that kind of mystery. It's also, in Jungian terms, often a representation of life. So the life force, I would say, the mystery of the life force, there's something in that space which is around the power that you are starting to bring out, your witchy power. But I think that this is also about understanding and sensing what this is really talking about is in the mystery of life and in the energy of life, and where things might be hidden, a little bit hard to find, you've got to dig and look for it. I think this is about understanding in your friendship circle, the people that you're around, the people that you surround yourself with, where is the energy forces operating on a subtle level that's good for you, that you should gravitate towards, and where is it in fact not, that it actually gets you lost in behaviors, patterns, energies, jealousies, frenemies, all of that kind of thing. Because the reason I say that is that firstly, where we have void, of course, missing, suggests that there is the concept of being lost. That's the kind of energy of when the moon is void, of course, it's almost like it's lost. It's almost like it's not got a direction and so forth. And that interests me, being lost in the forest. And we have the 11th house, which tells me this is around friends, connections. Could be online as well, actually, with the 11th house. But by and large, I think this is around the people that are around you. I think that you're developing an ability with mudra here. Mudra is the subtle energy levels of the body. It's used in yoga. It's used in in sort of moving, shifting, understanding, feeling into the different sort of like energy centers in the body. And then you have toxicity. I think this is a power to start to understand in the forest, or the part of your life that is about your friendships, your relationships. I'm thinking mainly friendships here, or as I say, potentially online. It's not so much about love and so forth, though if the two things cross over, that could be an issue. But I think you are developing a power to understand and see through and break away from the toxicity and work out who are the best people to have in your life. Now, it doesn't mean that you're surrounded by frenemies or you're surrounded by toxic people. It might be quite subtle, but this is about you finding your direction, I think, that aligns with the friends where there's a good energy, but is not drawing you into patterns or behaviors that are not suiting you. So it's a kind of an inner radar that's developing in you to make sure that you have the right friendships, the right connections, the right direction on that sort of level. But it's subtle. Mudras are subtle. It's like you are developing this ability to almost sense it or feel it in other people when their direction. You may, in fact, for some of you, it may not be so much that you need to move away from your friends, but it may be that this is first going to show up in how you help your friends dealing with their toxicity. You may be a natural healer. That could be the other thing that's coming up. Sort of strikes me that we see a lot of vegetation here at the beginning of the forest, and that gives me that sense of herbal healing as well. So it may be a bit of both, or it may be one or either, whatever one is aligning for you. But I think your sensitivity to what is well-directed, good, healthy energy and what is toxic and lost is really starting to develop. That's an instinct or a witchy sort of magical ability you have. So let's ask the tarot for a little bit more detail about how that's playing out. We're then going to ask about what is hidden in all this that is going to be revealed as this power and this magic arises. And then what sort of awakens, or what part of you is awakening as a result. So firstly, a little bit more about the actual message here, the message that is coming to you about your power. We have the Four of Swords reversed. The Knight of Coins reversed, okay. Justice reversed. Wheel of Fortune. Three of Cups reversed, okay. I think for most of you, this is primarily going to be about knowing who your friends are and who aren't, and having a really good sense of that. It feels mostly like that. It feels like a kind of a dawning awakening to where there is loyalty and there isn't loyalty, where there is fairness and where there isn't fairness. And also, what are you got? Is there any karma or any sort of fate energy that you're dealing with to work out where things are not healthy or not good for you? So I think it is primarily about that. But it is possible for some of you that some form of impermanence and injustice that you went through was almost like a rite of passage. And having gone through that, you can now sort of pick up energetically when things like that could happen to those you care about, and you could potentially help them. So it does depend. I do think for most it's about getting a deepening sense of who are the right people to be your friends, your allies, your collaborators and so forth. But for some of you, it could be moving into a healing thing. But if that's the case, you've gone through some sort of reversal, something unfair, something difficult, and it was like a really tricky rite of passage that gave you that sensitivity. So you'll know whether that's you or not. But this is, I think for most of you, this is like a radar for authenticity. And it's first going to show up around friendships, because I feel like it's saying that for some of you, there are some, frenemy energy, there's some toxicity, I think it's mainly things like jealousy and cliques and that kind of thing. But this is all meant to happen. It's the right time for it to happen. And it will ultimately save you from the wrong connections and the unfair connections and so forth. So as I say, it's a very good radar to have. But what is particularly hidden, therefore, in all of this? Like if this is the nature of the power that's arising in you, if this is the kind of the message that this witchy side of you is telling you, what is really being revealed? What did you not know that this awakening power will show you? Five of Wands reversed, Page of Wands reversed, Three of Coins. The Lovers reverse. Okay. There is around you a lot of jealousy, I think. I think this is what you maybe didn't have any idea. I think you thought you had friends who were collaborators. In some cases, this is some jealousy over a love partner or something like that. For some of you, you within your friendship circle or whatever, you maybe have a partner or something like that, and somebody's jealous of it. For some of you, that's definitely happening. For some, it's somebody who feels they should be more central and you're more central to this. You were thinking this is going well, but they've got this sort of hidden energy around it. But a lot of it has to do with, I say jealousy, ego, maybe jealousy about a partner that you have. If you're not with someone, then possibly not, but they might be interested in someone and they might think that person's interested in you as well too. So there's that kind of energy. It has that kind of, backstabbing sort of energy, but it's not to your face. This is why you didn't know it. Like with the Five of Wands reversed, this person is as sweet as pie to you, or these people are as sweet as pie to you. They appear to be good friends, but there's a lot of jealousy, a lot of competition. And I do think a lot of it's about, who's the most attractive, who's got the eye of somebody, who's the smartest or something like that. It's a toxic energy that's operating this is why it's a subtle thing that you're picking it up, because the face that is being shown to you is not the true face. So you are developing an ability to suss out what is not authentic, and it's needed at the moment. It's coming up at the moment now because it's needed for you. So what new you, with this power is arising, what will characterize the new you when you take in this power, when you really live into it? Queen of Cups reversed, Ace of Wands, King of Wands, Nine of Cups. Wow, you're not taking any prisoners once this happens. No more Ms. Nice girl if you're a girl, or guy if you're a guy. It's like you are now going to say, I'm taking charge. I'm moving forward with this. I don't have to collaborate with people who aren't true collaborators. I don't have to be friends with people who aren't true friends. And you know what? If you're interested in someone and so am I, I'm going to win. So whatever it is, the new you is going after what you want. I think the old you, in this scenario, it doesn't mean you're going to become really selfish in others, but you need to in this. This is why this power is awakening you. There's something very toxic operating. You need to take control. You need to take charge. This sort of sense of sort of almost trying to dim your light, particularly emotionally, and your beauty and all that kind of thing, is not, you can't do that. This is like, no, I've picked it up. I'm moving forward on my own with my own vision. I'm going for my dream, because this is toxic. There is something toxic around this, but it's, once you have the ability, Part 1, what I feel is that it comes up at this time because you need to sort of see this about some people around you. But once you've done that, then you have the ability more generally, and you can use it for good, and you can sort of see where people are really genuine, because this same energy can tell you when things are not toxic and are genuine. But right now it's happening because you're in the forest and you're kind of in the dark a bit, to be honest, because every time you turn to these people, they're smiling and sweet faced, but that's not what's going on. So look at it as, it might be a bit disappointing on one level to realize this, but it's incredibly empowering for you to go after what you want. And that's what you're meant to do, is to be empowered by this. Okay, so let's see a little bit more about the powers. Let's see with the Magic and Mediums deck a little bit more about what kind of witchy or magical powers combine with this ability, this incredible sensitivity for what is healthy and what is toxic. Forgiveness. Okay, so you will have the capacity to forgive some of this, but you're moving on. You're not going to play in it anymore, but you are able to see it for what it is, understand the weakness that's associated with it, and move on and be unscarred. So that's really powerful. It's part of the reason probably why you're able to do it. You're such an authentic person yourself. So really powerful. And mediumship. Okay, so you either already know that you're a medium and you can connect with the other realms and with past loved ones and so forth, or this is going to be part of the thing that comes with it, that some of this energy and some of this sensitivity comes through being able to pick up messages from those who are watching over you. So you're kind of, your kit bag's really interesting. You've got your own kind of energetic capacity to find your way in the forest and not get lost by being able to read the energy of those around you, but you're also going to be able to pick up the energy of those in the incorporeal and what messages they bring for you. I'm also getting for some of you, you are actually going to be able to help those that have passed on forgive toxicity and energy and things that were done to them. Like for some of you, as I said, for some of you, you're going to actually use healing energy here too. I think in combination, this is saying that for some of you working with mediumship, you're going to be able to help people forgive, let go and so forth of the toxicity and the unfair things that have happened to them. So I think you're going to potentially do both, but like it's something about you realizing it in your own environment and this ability that's going to trigger a lot of the rest of this for you. Okay, so then how would you best use this magic? If you have this magic, what do you need to bear in mind to best use the magic? Protection, set personal boundaries, yeah. Particularly if the mediumship thing is going on, but also if you're able to sort of like with the mudra feel into the energy of someone, if it is toxic, you do need to have some boundaries so it doesn't infect you. It's like so that you can recognize it but know then how to shut it out and so forth. And if you are doing mediumship, you definitely need to have like a protection, not that necessarily past loved ones or whatever mean harm, but they are in a different energy sphere and they have different energy needs. And again, you don't want to take on pain or whatever that they have. You merely need to be able to read it and help them move on, let go and all of that kind of thing. So it's very, very powerful, Pole 1. Now, any power, and particularly when we're talking about kind of witchy sort of power, has its shadow side. So I want to have a look at a couple of areas of shadow that you may need to deal with when you realize and you come into the power of this, and questions that might help you deal with that shadow. So the first shadow energy to be aware of when activating this sort of power is the Inferno. Passion, self-destruction, energy. You could get angry. You could trigger anger in others. You could get angry. It could feel like I've got to burn it all down. I feel like with this, you're going to help others forgive. I think that you need to sort of be able to process that information yourself. But there could be anger, and it could be quite righteous anger. But remember, this is the trigger to make you know of this ability. After that, you're going to be able to use this to find good connections too. But what's a question that could help your shadow side deal with this so that you don't sort of do shadowy actions in response to toxic, shadowy things that you pick up? How do I view success and failure, and how has it shaped my life? Okay, so I think that there may be a part of this where you felt like in collaboration or in friendship, things were supposed to be successful. You might take it personally as a view of success or failure if people have been playing you or something like that. But the point about this is it's almost like you've learned to play your own instrument and now you're a virtuoso. Before you were learning, now you're the virtuoso. So don't see realizing this and coming to that understanding as being a sign of a lack of success that makes you angry because somebody's tricked you. They're not tricking you anymore. Now you're playing a concerto. Once upon a time you were playing, do, re, mi or whatever. Now it's a concerto. So I think that's the thing to be aware of. Then another way or another shadow that's around this type of power is the Sun. Desire, hope, clarity. Okay, it's saying there isn't any other shadow. That's not a shadow thing. But you do need to be able to see. I think this is what it's saying is, yes, you could get angry, but don't allow that to happen, because the reality is that just as much as you can pick up toxicity, you're going to be able to pick up the Sun. And you're able to and in doing this, the Sun will shine more on you than it did before, because you've picked up who are your friends. But let's just see the question that can help you really understand that this is more about a Sun energy for you, more about enlightenment than it is about anything that keeps you in the shadow. What unresolved grief or loss am I carrying around with me? Yeah, once you've realized, let it go. Just go into this. This is why I think we've got the Queen of Cups reversed. It's like, don't make it an emotional thing for yourself. Make it an objective assessment of the environment, because then it can't sort of impact you in a way that takes away from actually what's meant to be bringing. Sunshine's meant to come into this forest. You're meant to be able to see your way through with a lot more clarity. Okay. So let's also get you a couple of goddesses to guide you. If we've had sort of like witchy energy, let's just get some goddess energy to sort of support you in using your new power. Pile 1. Oh, wow. Lilith. Yeah, you are quite witchy. You are quite witchy. Lilith in the machine is like, you would not make a good enemy to have, I've got to say. But I do think that for those that you're helping, you help them out of the shadows. You're incredibly powerful in a really good way. But it's like Lilith was demonized, and that's almost what you might feel when you realize some of this sort of energies that's going on. But remember, she's powerful. You're powerful. And the guide. Okay, you'll have some sort of a guide around this for you. Lilith may in fact be your guide, or you may be meant to step into the role of the guide. That's the other possibility here. So whatever happens, like you've got the Queen of the Witches really there with you. You can't go too wrong, pile one. All right. So a couple of things to finish off. I just want to get a couple of signs beyond this sort of energy that you might see in dreams, meditation, synchronistically, for you to know that this power is really building and you're really, really manifesting it. So firstly, and we're going to the lucid dreams tarot because I want the very natural energy, this very foresty natural energy in these cards. So firstly, we have white, masculine energy, thoughts, awareness, ideas, cold like snow. I think there's a few things here. I think this is ultimately, there's magic, but it'll be white magic because ultimately you're going to be using this for the good. I also think cold like snow is how you might need to be and how you might feel at first around this, and that's better than being in the inferno. Bring it to your awareness, bring it to your thoughts, get the idea of it. But you may see white light, you may sort of see white flowers, you might see people wearing white clothes. Just watch out for that sort of thing. And bird, message, news, happiness, prosperity, flight, freedom. So bird, lots of birds in the forest, but look out for birds. You may find you might have a spirit animal that is a bird. If you feel that's pretty much a given. Wouldn't be surprised if a raven actually with this sort of energy. But you may see birds, you may see jewelry with birds, articles of clothing with birds, pictures of birds. Just pay attention to those things. Pay attention to that kind of white energy and the sunlight energy, and pay attention to winged creatures. That seems to be messengers or connectors for you. I'm feeling that might be particularly connected to your mediumship actually, like when you take it to that level. Okay, last but not least, we're just going to end up with a nice practical magic card for how to bring all this together for you. Wow, the sun, solar strength, solar magic. In the end, this is about bringing light to the forest. This is about bringing the sunshine to the forest. This is about energetically feeling in and clearing out the toxicity so that the sun can shine. This is meant to be very healing for you and for others. That's why I think I kind of got both. But it starts with you realizing something in your own terrain that lets you know your ability here. In the end, you're going to use it to help others potentially who cross over properly. You're going to help others sort of find the truth and the sunlight and their own creativity. And it's going to lead to your own kind of sovereignty as well. But as it starts, it's sort of like a little bit of a gut punch. But once you move forward with it, you're very, very powerful. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Astral Realm, which certainly suggests to me that your witchy, your magical power is in the liminal space, the capacity to move between dimensions, astral travel, lucid dream, all of those sort of things. It's just like with Pile 1 had a forest. In this one, we've got Astral Realm. I think there's almost like a location that gives it a sense of what we're talking about here. So I think this is the capacity to move between worlds. But this is also the capacity to bring something back, which is interesting because the astral realm in itself is normally your astral travel, dreams, all that kind of thing. You go into the different realms and so forth. But then when we're looking at the astrology energy about where this is, Saturn firstly tells me something that is very karmic, very ancient, very structured, very well ordered. So it's almost like there's like entry into these points, you've earned it in some way. It might sound a strange thing to say, but you've earned it. You can go to places in the astral most people can't go to. So over many lifetimes, you've earned that. But you've also earned this right to bring something back because you've got manifest and you've got earth element stability. It's something creative, or it's a creative urge or a creative or a passionate energy that does it, but you bring something back. It's a strange thing. It's probably not, she says, not sure. It's probably not that you have a dream about, I don't know, a pair of dice and then you wake up and there's dice on your bed. It's probably not as literal as that, but like, who knows? But there is something like if you were to go into the astral realms and find a way to find the ideal job or something, it's almost like when you come back, you can then create it. The creative energy, you can create it and manifest it. But it's got to do with, for you, that you have the access to astral realms and astral abilities that other people don't have. I mean, some people might, but like other people don't generally have them. This is earned. You've earned this on some level. You've gone through, I think, some very rigorous rituals or study or something, whether it's in this life or another life, because it could very well be across a number of lives with Saturn. And it is also about the truth. It's like, in fact, what I am getting is there's a creative inspiration. It's almost like what it is you have a creative inspiration. I want to, let's just bring, I want to find my great love. And so there's a creative inspiration. You end up in the astral and Saturn there makes you see the truth. What is your great love? Who is your great love? May not be exactly the cutout that you were thinking about, but it's like you find the truth. When you found the truth, then in the real world, you can bring it in. And you may not like remember this, you may not be conscious of it, though I wouldn't be surprised with this that you might become quite conscious of it. So it's like you literally see it in the liminal. What is the truth? What is really going to happen? What is the truth? What do you really want? What do you really desire? Whatever it might be. And you can actually bring it back and make it happen. This is what this is about. But so it's not just astral realm to kind of meet angelic guides and wander around and isn't this interesting and the universe is very strange. There is a creative process here that ends up with something that is materialized, that's manifest in this earth. Very interesting. So let's have a look with tarot, a little bit more detail about this. Let's ask firstly a bit more about the general ability. Then we're going to ask, what was hidden about this that is being revealed. And then we're going to ask, who are you once you incorporate this magic? But firstly, just a little bit more about this magic. It's a very interesting form of magic, I have to say. The Magician, that doesn't surprise me. It's magic more than witchiness, to be honest. But anyway, Judgment, and Karma. Karma and the Calling, Seven of Swords reversed, and the Truth. Realistic, Two of Swords reversed, the Hierophant reversed. Okay, this is not conventional. As I say, you're not going to the conventional astral planes or whatever. It's not the conventional thing that you would get through prayer. It's not conventional through, practicing law of attraction. It's nothing like that. It's also almost to some degree beyond choice. There is the original spark of the desire that sends you on the astral trip. But once you do that, the magical thing draws you towards the truth, draws you towards the karma, draws you towards realizing what it really is. Like I feel as though sometimes you will desire one thing, in the end you manifest something else, but it's not because you couldn't manifest what you originally desired. It's because when you get into this realm, you'll understand that was an approximation of the desire, and what you're actually going to manifest is the real desire. Really interesting. It's like you go to a place, it's almost like you go to a place out of space and time where all you can see is the truth in its unalloyed reality. But it's the most powerful and liberating thing because it actually crystallizes what is best for you, and you understand it. You don't fight against it, you understand it. And then you come back and you can create it because of that. I've never seen anything like this before. That's really interesting. So let's ask what was hidden about all this that is being revealed to you. The Sun, your life path, the Tower, the amount of power that's associated with this. 8 of Coins, and that you've mastered it. You've earned this right. You've earned it. King of Cups reversed, and that you are ultimately meant, this is meant to heal you and others. It's almost like I could almost see one of you mastering this technique and then teaching others and like turning the whole law of attraction thing on its head. And quite frankly, I think it needs to be turned on its head because I think it's not, it kind of leads people into rabbit warrens. But I think exactly because of this actually, and I had never thought about it before until I saw your energy, but it's like you can't, like if you think about the material world, and we are in the material world, like if two people to come together, it's only their two essences that create a child, for instance. It's not like it's another essence from somewhere else. We have to create from the truth. If we don't create from the truth, it's going to be a failed creation. And that's probably the issue around the law of attraction, where it often doesn't work because it's not coming from the truth. But you are coming from the truth because you are able to do this. You've earned the right. You've mastered it. You can go and look at it. It doesn't make you blink. It doesn't make you upset. You can understand it in the weave of time, the weave of your destiny. And therefore, it's like it's a clarifying place. It's like you have the original spark with the fire. You kind of know you want something, or you've got an ambition or whatever it is. This is your place where you go for clarity. And once you have the clarity, you can do it. But it was sort of like what was hidden for you is that this is a place of karma and revolution and change, and it's inexorable. It is not something you can argue with. It's a bit like, as a magician, sort of ending up sort of like in the higher realms, the celestial realms, you're not going to be able to argue with that energy up there. So it's both finding your magic but knowing the limitations of your magic, but having the wisdom and the skill to be able to deal with that. And there's something deeply healing in it. I think you could heal almost the reputation of magic with knowing this. Wow, okay. So who are you? What do you become when you realize this, when you start to realize it? Ten of Swords reversed. Two of Wands, not Nine of Wands. Two of Wands. Knight of Swords. Nine of Wands. It's funny, I felt that Nine of Wands was coming. Nine of Wands reversed. You take all the drama out of everything so that it can move forward with clarity. And you also take all the ego and the whinging and you gotta like, think about my feelings. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with people's feelings, but it's kind of like it's taking all of the hyperbolic, you got to be so sensitive with everybody's feelings kind of thing. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. But once you accept that, then you have the choice. So I think you become somebody who is like, you're very compelling. It's like, this is not meant to make you feel lesser. This is not meant to hurt your feelings. This is meant to empower you. But the only way you're going to be empowered is the truth. It's like the saying, the truth will set you free. That is actually very, very true. So, wow, okay, let's have a look at some other magical energy around you, either that comes up at the same time or that you're already aware of. Taboo. Yeah, you know, you've kind of, I think you've experimented with a lot of different magic, either in this life or in another life, witchy sort of things, all that sort of stuff. And I think in doing that, you've worked out what the limits are. So you know what is notionally taboo that's okay, and it doesn't have to be conventional. Also, what is just going to lead you down a path and only going to kind of reduce your clarity and your truth and so forth. So again, you're able to look at it. You're able to look at it, and you're not concerned about conventional beliefs. You're just concerned about the truth. And divination, yeah, well, of course, you would have very good divinatory skills if you could do this, because not only could you see what's coming, but you can pretty much create it. So, if you wanted to say, oh, I'm a great diviner, I think this is going to happen. You come in and you create it and it happens. Like a bit of sleight of hand there if you wanted to do it that way. Let's see how to use your magical ability, your inner witchy ability. Epiphany. Reveal your gifts. Yeah, I do think you're meant to kind of heal and teach other people, show people how it is. Now, you might have to be careful about who to do this with because you earned it over a period of time. But this almost feels like, you've been in the mystery schools or something like that, and you'll find other people and you've got it to a particular level, and you need to reveal those gifts to be able to then, and you might do it through divination, as I say. It might be a bit of sleight of hand, but at the end of the day, it's actually the truth as well. But it proves it so that people will listen, and then you can actually teach them how to do it, because I think you're meant to do that in your life at some point anyway. So what happens with power, of course, is there's always the potential of a shadow. So what I want to have a look at here is use a deck, the other Lilith and the Machine deck, the Oracle deck, to look at like the risks of shadow for you, and then questions you could ask to understand or avoid the shadow. Now, you can see the truth pretty clearly, but nevertheless, everybody has a shadow. So you're probably not going to wince at all with these, but nevertheless, let's just see what Spirit wants to say. So the first shadow The mirror, reflection, echo, replica. I think there is, it's a bit like I was sort of joking and saying, well, you know, you could sort of say, I can see this is coming because you know you're going to manifest it. There would be a risk with this if you can manifest stuff that you want to kind of almost mirror yourself into the world and your truth into the world. So I guess there's a potential thing of like, you know, yours is the only truth, but there's probably everybody's truth is different. So it's important not to kind of project, I think. So what's a question that you would ask? How do I deal with anger and what lies beneath my anger? So where you are angry or upset about something, that might be where you're most likely to mirror your truth and try and make somebody else accept the truth. But what you're really meant to do is show people how to get to that level where they can confront their truth themselves. So not to get angry. Okay, let's see a second potential shadow for you. The end, death, closure, finality. Okay, one of the things that could be about this if you've reached that level is that this might be your last incarnation here. So there might be a kind of thing of like, what's my legacy? And I almost felt that, you know, with the kind of the manifest and so forth, like whether there was a legacy energy about this. And again, it's like being clear there's no shadow, that it's around that legacy, or wanting to sort of, it's almost like even wanting to be remembered is maybe something that brings ego into something that needs to be more pure. Let's see what the question is to ask. What are the regrets in my life and what can I learn from them? Okay, no, it's much more about if you sort of come across this and so forth and it's like, what could I have done differently? There's no point in doing that. What is over. Don't dwell on that. Move into the next thing, because, you know, you've got a real ability here. Like don't flinch at that. Don't start to judge yourself. The truth is the truth, basically, and that's all there is to it. Let's also get you some goddesses. So like we've got witchy energy. Let's get a couple of goddesses to support you. So we've got Kipitaki and Ishtar. Wow, that's pretty full on. So what's interesting here is that's a trickster energy, and that is dealing with war and conflict energy. So I think this is sort of saying you have reached that level where you can face the truth. You know, it may not be in every day of your life. And I'm not sort of saying that everything you think is true and you never have emotional responses and all that. But I'm saying in that space, when you're in that astral realm, you face the truth and you do not flinch. But I think that part of what you're meant to do is teach others. I think also part of it is to help other people deal with conflict, because when you think about conflict, it's often where people's truths, quote unquote, clash, and probably neither side has the truth, quote unquote. So it's sort of like this energy with Ishtar may be how to find a mediation ability that comes from just looking at the facts. You know, it's like somebody talking very emotively, just sitting down and looking at the data, for instance, that kind of thing. There's that sort of issue around that. But not everybody's even going to be able to deal with that, because some people will just shut down if you're talking to them about facts, for instance. So this, I think, is the trickster energy, and this is where you've got to be very careful how you deal with this. But I think that sometimes it might also be that the part of the truth you learn is how to communicate this in a way to get people comfortable with it until they're ready to see the truth. Because if you're trying to bring kind of a balance and a better outcome and the truth to be more the drumbeat under things other than propaganda and all the stuff like we have at the moment, then it's an interesting balance that you might need to bring into being here, that these goddesses are helping you with. It's a very interesting energy. So let's also see what kind of like natural based symbols or synchronicities your inner witch, your inner magician here might see, to know that you're sort of like developing this, you're getting to the point of really understanding it, or getting to the point where on a lucid level in a dream you really know where you're going and what's happening. What are some signs or symbols? So firstly, the forest. That's really interesting because one of the other readings had the forest. Some of you might have gone to both, and I could see some similarity here. I could see this almost as a graduation point from the forest. If you did go to that, but you don't have to. But otherwise, this is, you know, like triggers, healing, shadow work, spiritual realm. It's like it's in where we need to heal. That's where we need to see the truth. So you might dream about forest, you might see forest, you might be involved in shadow work, all of that kind of thing. And that might trigger you to understanding this ability that you have. And brown, earthy, grounded. Yeah, and grounded was earthy. There's something here about what you manifest. It's stable, reliable, health, comfort. I think you will actually, your own body will be more and more healthy the more that you do this, because the more that you're just in alignment with the vibration of truth. But yeah, earthy things, earthy colours, being out in nature, all of that sort of stuff, all probably helps trigger this sort of connection for you. Okay, so last but not least, I'm just going to get you a sort of positive, practical magic energy to bring it all together for you. Wow, channel your anger. So anger is going to be an issue. So that's worth knowing. Like, I think, sometimes when we see the truth, for some of you, when you realize this power and this ability and you realize how much the propaganda and other things operate in the world, you may get angry, but that's still not going to be the best way to use this. So you are going, but I think you've had to deal with it before, because we've got trials here. So I think it would be, this is just the next step. You've proven yourself worthy to be in this place and see the truth. Now, the next step in what you're manifesting is to prove yourself worthy to be able to deal with this without frustration. Because I can imagine if you really knew the truth about something and everybody else is in various like echo chambers of propaganda, it would drive you nuts. I mean, not literally, but it would be really, really hard to deal with. So that may be the kind of the biggest challenge of this. But know that all of this, it's all the same sort of training and learning that got you to this level in the first place. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with transmute, which, to me, fairly obviously is about taking one energy, transmuting it. It's very alchemical, in an alchemical process, making something more pure and so forth. The phrase that came into my head looking at these cards together is, I think, from the Bible, and death shall have no dominion. I think that your witchy, your magical power is about the transmutation of life force from life to life. Like, it's very scorpionic. But I feel like if you were in a kind of an ancient tribe or something, I think you would have been someone who officiated over death and birth and like karmic sort of energies. You really get that. You really get that. And in a really balanced way and in a very holy way. There's something very holy about this. It's really funny. I was thinking, just as I laid this out and I got this feeling, like this whole set of readings, I kind of thought that it was going to be kind of a little bit of fun, a little bit witchy. It's been really profound. I just want to say, and I wish I'd said it all the way through for all the readings, but I'll just say it now because this is when it really struck me. I am so honoured to read for this collective, I have to say. I am so honoured because the energies that I see, the things I see, I haven't seen them before. Like the people, I don't know, maybe some of you don't comment, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But the energies and the spiritual energy that is coming to this channel, even if it's not a big channel or any of those sort of things, it's quite extraordinary. Like, it's quite extraordinary. Like, I feel like, wow, and it's such an honor. It's such an honor that people would find value in what I'm doing here. So thank you for that. I feel quite emotional. I feel really emotional because this is a very emotional one. I think that you have an energy to help people. Like, it's kind of like a high order mediumship, but it's more than that. But it's kind of like that. It's like being a psychopomp almost. See, those might be the best. Like, you're in the world, but it's almost like you perform a psychopomp thing. Because we have effigy here. I feel like this is the human form, the representation, the simulacrum, the shell that we are, that is transmuted into something holy. And then we look at this, the sort of balance, the perfect balance of things. I feel like Ma'at, in ancient Egyptian stuff, like weighing the heart with the feather, that kind of energy with North Node, life's purpose, with the karmic cycle, with what we're all developing into. I feel like this is a very holy group, I've got to say. This feels holy, as opposed to just sort of witchy or something like that. In fact, I actually don't think, and maybe it's because I said at the beginning, I don't really align so much with witchy energy, though I don't have anything against it. But I think that these readings are about something more than that. But it's a very evocative deck, so it's been very, very good to bring that out. But this is about making the process of life, death, rebirth, all of the stages of that holy, sacred. And you have a very, very powerful energy. Whether you've been aware of it before, this is something that you're coming into. Wouldn't be surprised with some of you if you've inherited it, like whether there's some sort of bloodline thing going on here, but I don't know. So let's get a little bit more information. Let's go with the tarot. So we're going to start firstly with just a bit more about what this energy is. Then we're going to ask, what about it has been hidden but is being revealed. And then we're going to ask, who are you once this power is incorporated in you. So firstly, just a little bit more about this really beautiful energy I'm saying here, pile 3. 7 of Cups reversed. 2 of Cups reversed. 6 of Coins reversed. 5 of Coins reversed. Yeah, this is very much in between. This is in the liminal space, really big time. 5 of Cups reversed. It's all reversed. There's nothing wrong with that being reversed. This is in spirit. This is in the places in between lives. Wow, okay. So a pure emotional energy that is true. There's nothing imagined about this. This process, even if you did kind of do this within a tribe or within, a family or something like that, or even if you're someone who works at a mortuary or at a funeral home, there's something very sacred about what you do. It's real, and anything you feel emotionally is real. You bring broken hearts into a sense of balance, equilibrium, and equality. I mean, whatever and whoever we are in this life, when we move on in between lives, we are all equal. Nobody, like a king in this life, will just be a soul in between. There's this beautiful healing of any of the pain around that, and the equalizing of energy, the communion with others, like the soul tribe, the soul energy, and the releasing of pain. Like I feel really emotional looking at this. This is sacred stuff. I feel really emotional. Okay, so let's that on, even though I'm quite in tears at the moment. What is being hidden? Well, what has been hidden that is being revealed to you? Knight of Wands. Sorry, I really am emotional. The Hermit. The 4 of Swords. The 4 of Coins reversed. An inspirational energy that you didn't know you had. And the capacity of movement. Knight of Wands is always movement. You do help souls move. Deeply spiritual, deeply mystical. Very internal process. You heal people. You are a psychopomp. This is what you are. You are a psychopomp. And 4 of Coins reversed, you let things that are material unravel into the immaterial. How you do this, it's kind of like how you do it that's being revealed. Your spiritual center, but it's like the sense of movement, the movement of the spirit, the healing of the soul, and the dissolving of the old, the transmutation of that into the pure spirit in between lives. Wow. You may not even be aware you're doing it, to be honest. It might happen in dream states and things like that, but this is really interesting. So then, what do you become once you understand and incorporate and see this power more? 3 of Swords reversed. King of Swords. 6 of Swords. Queen of Swords. Wow, it's interesting. The King and Queen of Swords. It's all swords. This is the reliever of pain. Do you know, it's like a psychopomp. There's a very beautiful energy here. It's a very caring energy here, but ultimately it's kind of chill in a way that it needs to be, that brings peace. It's like, I could imagine, if you did, like in the ancient Greece, if you met Charon, who is, the ferryman, I could imagine him like a King of Swords, taking you across the river, and this sort of clarity, there's just complete clarity that comes with it. Purity of thought, purity of soul, purity of spirit. You know what that role is. And you can kind of like incorporate it sort of almost intellectually in how you live your life, even if, as I say, a lot of this happens in the liminal space or whatever. Okay, so let's see what other magic you have that connects with this. Banish. Okay, you can transmute and take out anything that was hard, any pain, any dark energy, anything that would want to trap souls or whatever. You know, like under your watch, you know, a soul is going to be free to go towards its proper karmic energy. You can banish anything dark or difficult. Sacred space, yeah, the temple. You make a sacred space for everybody. So how do you best use this magic? Euphoria. Honor yourself. Honor what you're doing. Honor that this is a very sacred thing. I think that's also saying that sort of in the liminal space, reach out and find the one who'll do it for you as well. When your time comes. Not that I'm saying your time's coming anytime soon or anything, but what you do for others, you know, put out the request that it also be done for you. Okay. So all things have some shadow. I don't think this has a lot of shadow though, I've got to say. It's pretty sacred. But nevertheless, I will go through all the things that I was doing for each. So if there was any shadow you had to deal with in doing this, in being like this psychopomp, I'm going to like look at what they could be, and then I'm going to look at a question that you could ask to sort of like deal with and transmute the shadow energy for yourself. So the first shadow energy is the wanting. Greed, envy, ambition. So this could be your own wish not to leave the mortal coil, not to, you know, like, and to be in the material. Like you have this really pure way of helping others, but your own wishes, your own desires or whatever could be. And it's interesting like that effigy as well. It's like to honor yourself and not to leave the mark of yourself, to be able to let yourself dissolve, to be the new you and all that, and transmute as well too. So how do you deal with that potential shadow or resistance? What are the toxic relationships or connections that you need to let go of? So it may be just saying, and this might be something you're doing for others, this is why you have to find someone to do it for you, that part of the releasing, it looked like releasing people from heartache and all that kind of thing, you're going to need somebody to do it for yourself. It's also possible that in doing this, you may take some of that energy on. So you may need to find a way to release that kind of toxicity so that you're not absorbing it when you transmute it. A second shadow energy for you is the judge, retribution, triumph, and discipline. Yeah, so this is not to judge. This is not, it did have that sort of sense almost with Libra like Mart, but you aren't Mart. You aren't weighing the hearts of these people. You are helping them and preparing them for that kind of process and doing it in a sacred way. So it's important not to take this to the point that you judge. So what would be a question to ask if you felt that you were doing that? What are my deepest insecurities and how can I work on them? So it may be that you're only triggered to judge if you see something similar to yourself. If you know that and you understand you can transmute, particularly if you find there will be others like you who can help you, what would you do so that you don't have to worry about that, you don't reflect that back? But as I say, I think most of you, like, it's very little shadow around this, but I guess it is just you're a person as well, and you need to be, it's like, you know, like a priest needs to have, you know, the sort of last rites said over him as much as anyone else, that kind of energy. Okay, so let's get you some goddess energy also to help you. Aphrodite, beauty, love, joy, the heart, and loving yourself and knowing yourself again, honoring yourself enough to request the same sort of help for yourself. And Athena, the wisdom to do it, the mind. Yeah, and this is this very strong mind, like your clarity and your kind of almost intellectual understanding of the spiritual realm, you know, is very, very strong. So those goddesses are making sure that continues for you. Okay, what Athena would be potentially looking out for would be signs as well, because it's sort of something you think through, see, recognize, and so forth. So we're just going to get a couple of signs from the natural world that could tell you this power is rising in you, you're using it, you're learning more about it, something like that. So sign synchronicities, things in dreams. Valley, womb potential, new opportunities, fertility, abundance. It's interesting, if you are not sort of someone who is watching over people who are passing out of life, you might be someone who, is involved in the birthing process or something, or new life coming in, like you may well be, sometimes people ask me, is this person who's just been born in the family, are they kind of somebody else from the past in the family, that kind of thing. You may well be able to tell that. You may be able to tell that a soul has returned and understand it in that way. So, but also, seeing pictures of valleys, thinking about going to the valley, having a holiday in a valley, all of these things might connect you to that energy. And bear, power, strength, brute force, courage, protection, instinct. I think you will have a very strong protective instinct. That's the other thing about a psychopomp. It protects. It takes, Charon takes you across the river Styx so that you don't drown. Like there's your sense of protection for others, I think. And your sense of your own strength will be an indication of all of this really sort of rising within you as well. Okay, so last but not least, I'm just going to get you a practical magic blessing to close out the reading. Embrace your shadow, light and dark. So it's don't worry about the shadow. It's just as long as you have honoured yourself and loved yourself enough to know that someone else can do for you what you will do for others, that's all you really need to worry. Your shadow is not sort of something that's like toxic to others. It's what could be toxic to you. So if you embrace it and know that you will ask for the same support, that at your time and when it's necessary, it too shall be transmuted and made sacred. So thank you. Thank you for your energy here. It is very, very moving. I hope that you enjoyed the reading. I hope that it resonates for you. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.